and that. And speaking about technology protecting us and things, one of the trendy topics that we on this channel talk about so much is electric vehicles and EVs. Just 2 weeks ago, we talked about Tesla versus BYD. A few weeks before that, we talked about the Cybertruck. And we've been talking about electric vehicles for a long time. Electric vehicles have been on the rise around the world for many different reasons and things. But this in particular, I wanted to talk about because I live somewhere, it's currently snowing, and there's snow out there and stuff. And EVs are apparently struggling. And I seen something about this too earlier in the week about or late last week about Chicago and how people's EV cars were going through a bunch of problems and things like that. They couldn't make it home, they were getting towed and stuff. So let's just see what this video says from this. And
But electric vehicle owners are facing a whole new set of challenges as temperatures dip. The cold is affecting two crucial elements of the EV experience: the driving range and the charging speed.
I've been here for over 5 hours at this point.
And the reason for both comes down to their power source.
Lithium-ion batteries.
Lithium-ion battery.
Lithium-ion battery.
Lithium-ion batteries. Like all other batteries, they run on chemical reactions, the movement of electrons and ions from one terminal of the battery to the other. Chemical reactions happen faster when it's hotter and slower when it's colder. And since some of the car's battery power in the winter is being redirected to maintain optimal battery temperature and heat the car cabin, your EV's driving range could be reduced by as much as 25%. The cold also affects the battery charge. Companies actually slow the charging speed of EVs, since charging your car when it's below freezing can make the battery unstable and more likely to fail. So much for bad news, but there is something that can be done. For one, taking fuel.
so before that she goes and dives into the solutions and things like that, I guess this might have been the video I saw, but yeah, that there needs to be for EVs to be going global as they are. People really need to think about them from the aspect of, can they be used in every area? How are they going to be used in other every country and things like that? In cold climates, they're not going to perform well at all. Everybody knows this when you take out stuff, even when your gas car, struggles in the cold and stuff like that sometimes and whatever. But like EVs are just way worse because of their batteries that they're using. As they were saying, they described all the reasonings from it. And that person said he was there for 5 hours. He was there for 5 hours and his car is still not charged to the limit. I know for Teslas, you need to keep it around like 80% or something like that, and because you don't fill up the battery ever, for the battery health and things like that. So he's there for 5 hours and he still didn't get to that benchmark. They're not even asking for a fully charge at that point, for how long it is going, and it's gonna cut on range. I drove when I drove a Tesla for the first time in Florida and things. It was a cool experience, but one of the experiences that sucked was finding charger stations around me and having to charge them. And then you sit there and you waste a good amount of day just to charge the vehicle back up, especially if you're making decent road trips and things like that throughout the day and all of that. It's really not something that's very efficient for long range just yet. And like driving around all day, like if you're driving around all day for work and stuff, you cannot own an EV. You really cannot own an EV right now. And that's one of the biggest problems that EVs need to figure out before that. I really think they're going to be able to take over the everything. I don't think they'll be able to take over anything until they figure out how to get this range maximized in the safest way possible.
Fewer short trips. Each time an EV stops, it cools down and needs to be reheated when started up again. That drains the battery. Tesla also recommends keeping your car plugged in and retaining a minimum of 20% charge at all other times. And since warm batteries charge more easily, driving for at least 30 minutes before charging your car could speed up the process. Car companies are working on making electric vehicles more efficient in the winters. And in the end, Perhaps what EVs lack in efficiency during cold spells, they make up for in environmental impact.
So another thing, I know Tesla even had issues for when people, you know how your car doors freeze over and stuff? Tesla doesn't believe in door handles. So you really couldn't open your Tesla doors when they were frozen over and things like that. It was a really big hassle and things. As far as that whole Shazam and Charade and things across that scope. But that's how much like a difference that it really makes for stuff being in the cold and things.